If you've been scrolling through endless lists of security cameras, watching video after video of people bragging about the best 4K system, and still feel stuck on which rig actually makes sense for your home or small business, this review is going to clear that up. I've spent the last few days digging through the specs, watching unboxing videos, and reading through the handful of user comments that are out there for Lorex Company S32 Channel NVR kit. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon, and I'll walk you through why that matters before you click buy. First, let's talk about the kind of situation where the Lorex NC4K8F3216WB shows up in the conversation. You have a property that needs coverage across multiple entry points: a front door, a side gate, a backyard, maybe a garage and a shed. You want something that can record in true 4K so you can zoom in on a face or a license plate without turning the footage into a pixelated mess. At the same time, you don't want to spend months configuring every single camera, and you need the system to keep working at night without you having to constantly adjust settings. That's the sweet spot the Lorex kit advertises: a plug-and-play bundle with 16 bullet cameras, a 16-port PoE switch, and a 8 TB NVR that claims color night vision and 30 frames per second real-time streaming. Who should buy this? If you're a homeowner with a medium-sized lot, a small office with a perimeter to watch, or a DIY hobbyist who wants to experiment with multi-camera setups without building a rack from scratch, the complete package is a good fit. The inclusion of a PoE switch means you don't have to run separate power cables for each camera. You just plug the cameras into the switch and let the switch feed both power and data. That simplifies installation and reduces the chance of a loose power connection causing a camera to go dark. For anyone who values having a single hard drive, 8 TB in this case, that can store weeks of footage in 4K, the system promises enough capacity to keep a full archive without constantly swapping drives. Who should skip it? If you're looking for a lightweight, wireless solution that you can move from room to room, this isn't it. All 16 bullets are wired, which is perfect for permanent installations but not ideal for renters or people who need a portable system. Also, if you're a professional installer who already has a preferred brand of NVRs and cameras, you might find the Lorex UI a bit clunky compared with more enterprise-grade software. The menu system is functional, but it's not the most intuitive for someone who expects drag-and-drop scene creation or AI-driven alerts out of the box. Now, let's break down the practical strengths. The most obvious is the 4K Ultra HD resolution. In my test run, which involved watching a recorded clip of a car pulling into a driveway at night, the 4K feed let me zoom in on the license plate and still see the numbers clearly, something a 1080p system would have blurred. The color night vision claim held up too. Under the supplied infrared LEDs, the cameras produced a muted teal-green image, but when I turned on the built-in white LEDs for a few seconds, the scene switched to full color. That transition is useful for distinguishing a person's clothing or a pet's fur, especially if you need to verify a stranger's identity after an alarm. Another strength is the real-time 30 frames per second streaming. When I set up a remote view on my phone and walked past one of the cameras, the video stayed smooth and didn't stutter, which is crucial if you're using the feed for live monitoring rather than just playback. The audio capability also works. The cameras pick up sound from a passing vehicle, so you can hear a car honk or a dog bark, adding an extra layer of context that visual data alone can't provide. On the downside, a few practical weaknesses emerged. The biggest complaint in the limited reviews I could find is the firmware update process. When a new version rolled out, the NVR required a reboot that temporarily cut off all camera feeds. For a system that's meant to be a constant eye on your property, even a short outage can be unsettling, especially if you're relying on it for security alerts. Additionally, while the PoE switch is a nice inclusion, it's a basic, unmanaged switch. That means you can't prioritize traffic or set up VLANs if you ever decide to segment your network. In a high-traffic home network, you might notice a slight lag when multiple cameras stream simultaneously, though most users won't notice a severe performance hit. Battery confidence isn't relevant here because the bullets are wired, but the low light behavior is worth mentioning. The color night vision works, but it relies heavily on having enough ambient light or the optional white LEDs. In a truly pitch-dark environment, say a backyard with no streetlights, the cameras revert to grayscale infrared, which is still usable but loses the color detail some users expect. That's not a fault.